Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago, I want to raise a very short issue about something that I saw on the media on CNC3 last night, and then again I saw it this morning. The CNC3 media, who you know, of course, do not support the Trump administration. They support the leftist agenda, the far left agenda, and also they appear to be a very anti-Israel. CNC3, along with most of mainstream media, whether it's CNN, BBC, most of the international channels, Al Jazeera of all news channels to have as an affiliate, CNC3 chooses to use that channel to highlight international news. But so they asked David Nakhid about his opinion about Kamala Persad-Bissessar, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar's support for the United States of America intervention, military intervention in Iran. And he, of course, said that he does not support it, and that he accused America of being controlled, taken over by Zionists. And of course, he definitely condemned the actions of Israel as well. And I would like the Prime Minister to come out and say that she does not agree with what David Nakhid said, just like how she did not agree when Philip Edward Alexander said about how India could have intervened on our behalf when it pertains to Venezuela. But who knows? Who knows? The Prime Minister may not say anything. But I will say one thing, though. I hope and pray that Kamala Persad-Bissessar does not allow individuals like David Nakhid to change her mind on standing up for Western civilization values, standing up for democracy, standing up for two of our greatest allies in the entire world, America and Israel. Now, Kamala Persad-Bissessar may not know that and may not understand that, but Israel is America's greatest, most powerful ally, democratic ally in the Middle East and in the entire world. They work together hand in hand. And that is why the radical left and the jihadists oppose both of these nations so much. I would like David Nakhid and CNC3 to tell us if it is they have raised any sort of issues when the Ayatollah regime in Iran were murdering thousands of Iranians who were protesting against that regime in the past few weeks. Did CNC3 once ever, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but did they ever once cover any of that? Did they ever report about any of that? But they're quick to ask certain individuals in the UNC administration if they support the intervention that has taken place after the Iranians have been pleading with Donald Trump for many months now to save them, deliver them from the hands of the Ayatollah. And Trump did say that help was coming, and that is what inspired them to protest. And when they began to protest by the tens of thousands, the Ayatollah took action and caused the deaths of tens of thousands of these individuals. And now, even though, yes, they are supporters of the Ayatollah in Iran, there are many others, the vast majority of the population in Iran. And throughout the world, the Iranians are celebrating their liberation after over 40 decades of oppression under very strict Sharia law. So I would like David Nakhid to tell us, what does he have to say about the Ayatollah regime's type of actions against their own people? What about certain jihadist groups like Boko Haram in Nigeria, who target Christians and murder many simply because they don't want to convert? What about in Syria, where the Druze were being eliminated recently by the new Syrian regime and their military? And there are certain groups, jihadist groups in Syria. Did David Nakhid have anything to say about that? But you're coming out publicly and denouncing Israel and denouncing America and denouncing anyone, basically calling them Zionists, anyone who stands with Israel. The Bible is a Zionist Bible. We all who are born again Christians are Zionists because we do believe in what the Bible says, that the land of Israel was given to the Jews, and that has never changed. Read Romans 11, where Paul the Apostle said, were the Jews cast aside because of what they did? Because they rejected Jesus? Paul the Apostle said, certainly not. That is what he said. Certainly not. He went on to say that we as Gentiles, not him, because he was a Jew as well, but we like myself who are Gentiles, we were grafted into the cultivated olive tree. We came from wild olive branches, but through Jesus Christ, we have been grafted into the family of the Jews. Now you want to replace them? You cannot replace them. And Paul the Apostle went on to say that we are supposed to pray for their salvation. We are supposed to encourage them to accept Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, not try to replace them. And he said that in the end, all of Israel will be saved. And besides it, Paul the Apostle, look at Revelation itself. The nation of Israel exists in the end times. The Antichrist will enter a Jewish temple in Israel and declare himself God. And that is when the Israeli people will say, enough is enough. We are breaking our treaty. We are breaking our ties with the Antichrist, with the man of sin. How can you say then that? So the Bible is predicting an Israeli nation that is not real? The Bible is a Zionist Bible, and any genuine Christian will be a proud Zionist. Moving on to some other news now. The Privy Council has cleared the way for 9 men formerly accused of the kidnapping and murder of businesswoman Vindra Naipal Kuhlman to receive over 20 million for malicious prosecution. Last Thursday, Lords David Lloyd Jones and David Richards, along with Lady Vivian Rose, refused the Office of the Attorney General permission to pursue a final appeal over a judge's decision to overturn a default judgment she granted the men in 2021. A notice confirming the decision was posted on the United Kingdom-based Appellate Court's website yesterday. The application does not raise a point of law general public importance, the notice stated. My response, yet again, taxpayers have to cover the cost for our precious TTPS incompetence, and of course, their prosecutors, and most of the times, correct me if I'm wrong, the prosecutors are police officers themselves. Life is sweet here in TNT. I wonder what Roger Alexander, Minister of Homeland Security, and our Commissioner of Police, Alistair Guevara, have to say about this. Fix the TTPS, Madam Prime Minister. I'm telling you, I really do believe that Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar is leaning on the right side of politics, you know, but she's also being misled. Don't go anywhere. Still have more local, regional, and international news up next. The Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce has expressed support for the government's recent declaration of a state of emergency, describing the move as a necessary step to restore safety and security for citizens and businesses across the country. My goodness, but you really wonder how much people really care about democracy in this world anymore. My response, how long will the government continue to adopt PNM's SOE crime-fighting strategy? Because that's exactly what they are doing. Will citizens' constitutional rights remain suspended for the next 5 years, especially if the ZOSO law is never passed in the Senate? Our Prime Minister needs to acknowledge that the TTPS must be reformed to end this ongoing corruption and incompetence, which results in a low detection rate and also frequent cases of extrajudicial killings and evidence tampering. He must also make it mandatory that police officers wear body cams at all times while on duty. Having said that, why doesn't the TTPS place mobile posts in all hotspot areas and also in known areas where individuals enter our country illegally. You don't need an SOE to do that, do we? Madam Prime Minister, there are simple and basic ways to reduce crime in TNT, which should also include the law to ban the playing, promoting, and glorification of gang culture on our airwaves and in public. Some good news now, some positive news at Mount Lambert. The Drainage Division is executing a critical drainage infrastructure project along the Bermudez Main Road, located on Law Street of Bridge Road, aimed at safeguarding residents, businesses, and surrounding communities during periods of heavy rainfall. UNC is always proactive when it pertains to these issues, unlike PNM, that waits until a disaster takes place then to take action, and sometimes they still don't. These works include the installation of a high-capacity pump, construction of a dedicated pump house, construction of gabion mattresses, stone-filled wire mesh layers that acts as a protective blanket along the embankment to stabilize the embankment and prevent erosion along the channel, as well as the completion of an access roadway to support ongoing operations and maintenance. This intervention is particularly important as intense rainfall over the northern range rapidly channels water into the area. During such events, elevated flows can place pressure on the San Juan River, which runs through Mount Lambert, increasing the risk of overtopping and flooding. Once completed, the system will significantly improve the area's ability to manage excess storm water, protect nearby infrastructure, and reduce flood vulnerability. The Bermudez Main Drain project, is currently approximately 50% complete. Still don't go anywhere. Regional news up next. The Ministry of Education has concluded its teacher exchange program with Grenada as St. Vincent and the Grenadines and other OEC's countries prepare to roll out the new digital OEC's harmonized primary curriculum. More details in the video here, of course.
Two teachers from Grenada and St. Vincent and the Grenadines who participated in the one-week exchange program wrapped up their sessions last Friday. The Ministry of Education has expressed satisfaction with the teacher exchange pilot initiative for the digital OECS harmonized primary curriculum between Grenada and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Senior Education Officer Aldia Gums-Dyer said the new curriculum forms part of a wider regional integration initiative aimed at standardizing primary education across the OECS member states.
Naturally, through this exchange, students are more sensitized to the reach of the curriculum. They better understand that it is not happening only in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but there are other persons across the region learning the same thing that they're learning, and we are hoping that students can even engage each other.
Education Officer K. Martin Jack also expressed optimism about the implementation of the digital primary curriculum, noting that it represents a significant step toward modernizing teaching and learning in the education system.
We are not merely introducing new content or digital tools. We are indeed embracing a transformation in mindset. That is, from the traditional teacher-centered approaches to a more student-centered, competency-based model that prepares our learners to the realities of the 21st century.
Senior Minister within the Office of the President in Guyana with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, recently stated that the government has maintained a balanced approach when it comes to ensuring that the nation's ambitious development agenda is financially sustainable. The minister, during a recent interview, highlighted that because of careful budgeting, diverse revenue streams, and disciplined borrowing, the government is building out the country without jeopardizing long-term financial stability, developing the country. The minister said a lot of people, they see roads happening and they don't really think about how these things are financed. especially the opposition supporters. It's very important to remember that the national budget is not dramatically different from even a household budget. The minister noted that government revenues come from multiple sources, which include traditional tax collection, climate revenues, and resource-based funds like oil revenues, which they are using, of course, to diversify the economy. Explaining that revenues could cover transfer payments such as old age pensions, the government wage bill, and the capital investments. And thus far, the Irfan Ali administration is doing a very good job managing the economy of Guyana. A 10,000-foot medical dome, which was slated to be installed on the grounds of the Cornwall Regional Hospital in Montego Bay, Jamaica, last month, creating space for approximately 100 additional beds, has still not been installed, though the base is ready for use. Originally slated for arrival by late February, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton recently indicated that the structure was deliberately held until the base was finished to avoid having it sit idle on the site. As of March 3rd, 2026, the dome is expected to be flown into Jamaica imminently for immediate setup now that site preparations are complete. And of course, that is good news for the people of Jamaica. Attorney General Ryan Pinder has called the Grand Bahama Port Authority statement misleading and misguiding, asserting it does not reflect the true intent of the arbitration award. Okay then. He described the ruling as a monumental win for the government of the Bahamas, stating the tribunal affirmed the government's binding authority in the regulation and governance of Freeport. The movie says gives the people of Grand Bahama greater say, clears the path for future growth. Whether what he's saying is true or not, only the people in Bahamas would know.
Would also note that the Grand Bahama Port Authority released a statement this morning. We would argue that statement is misguided, misleading, and does not portray the true intention of what the award ruled on. The partial award affirms the administration of the port area is not exclusively vested in the GBPA. At most, the GBPA retains specific contractual and administrative responsibilities. Clarity in law has been given that the government has regulatory and legislative authority over matters in the port area.
Senior Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Chris Sinclair, says Barbados must recalibrate its foreign policy in response to a rapidly changing global landscape. Speaking during the 2026 estimates debate in the lower house, he said while strategies must be modernized to remain effective, CARICOM remains central to Barbados' diplomatic and strategic agenda. CARICOM can't help itself. What you need to do, my dear Barbadian Prime Minister, is take a little bit of or follow Kamla Persad-Bissessa's example or footsteps and align yourself with the greatest ally that we have here in the Western Hemisphere and in the entire world by extension, the United States of America. I'm sure they are probably your most major trading partner as well there in Barbados. International news now. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, not Donald Trump, Donald Tusk, officially announced on March 2nd, 2026 that Warsaw is in active discussions with France and a group of European allies regarding an advanced nuclear deterrence program. This potential shift in national security comes in response to French President Emmanuel Macron's proposal to create a European nuclear alliance that would involve hosting French strategic air forces and nuclear armed assets on allied territory. Tusk emphasized that Poland will no longer remain passive in the face of deteriorating regional security, stating that the country aims to prepare for as much autonomy as possible in matters of nuclear deterrence. You have to be able to, if you have to protect yourself, especially from places like Russia, you're definitely going to have to become more independent and stop just depending on protection from what NATO. The thing about it is all these are signs, people, including what is taking place right now there in Iran and in the Middle East, signs of the end times, no other time in the world, in the history of our world. since creation, has certain significant things been happening. Yes, there have always been wars and rumors of wars, but it's the type of wars and the type of technology that we have that was described in Revelation, but of course people of that time, the Apostle John, could not have been able to describe it the way we would now. So things to him were appearing to be beasts and so forth. Things that are happening now could have never been fulfilled in any other period in our world's history. Israeli forces struck an Iranian Supreme Council gathering on Tuesday as the group was meeting to choose a successor to lead the regime after Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed on Saturday, a senior Israeli official told Fox News. The US and Israeli killed 49 of Iran's most senior leaders in the opening stage of the joint operation on Saturday morning, leaving Iran's military fractured and leaderless. However, there are claims outside there, I think coming from Iran, that the individuals that the Israelis and the Americans targeted were not the actual individuals who had to vote for the new leader, but people are tallying the votes or something like that. We all know that the Ayatollah doesn't actually report facts, or their media doesn't report facts, so only God knows at this point in time. It will be verified in the future. From what I've heard, they're now deciding to vote for the new leader remotely. They're not gathering in any specific place anymore to hold a vote. And I think it is Khamenei's son that has been chosen as the new supreme leader.
Mr. President, are you going to take the heat off the Europeans to potentially help you? Mark Rutte called on the allies to also help you.
What does that mean?
Well, you have to ask Mark Rutte if he said not as part of NATO, but to be helpful to you in this.
Well, some of the European nations have been helpful and some haven't. And I'm, very surprised. Germany's been great. He's been terrific. Others have been very good, terrific. I think that the head of NATO, Mark, is fantastic. Okay, Mark Rutte. I think he's fantastic. But some of the European, like Spain, has been terrible. In fact, I told Scott to cut off all dealings with Spain. Spain, first of all, it started when every European nation, at my request, paid 5%, which they should be doing. And everybody was enthusiastic about it, Germany, everybody. And Spain didn't do it. And now Spain actually said that we can't use their bases. And that's all right, we could use their base if we want. We could just fly in and use it. Nobody's going to tell us not to use it. But we don't have to. But they were unfriendly. And so I told him we don't want to. Spain has absolutely nothing that we need other than great people. They have great people, but they don't have great leadership.
President, did Israel force your hand to launch these strikes against Iran? Did Netanyahu pull the United States into this war?
No, I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators, great people, people that do this very successfully and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first. And I didn't want that to happen. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand. But Israel was ready and we were ready, and we've had a very, very powerful impact.
Now for the interesting facts segment, a professional pet sitter in China has set a new record for holiday earnings, bringing in approximately $23,000 during his year's Lunar New Year festivities. The man managed an intensive schedule that included caring for a total of 1,000 cats over the course of the holiday season, often visiting and feeding up to 55 different pets in a single day. This high earning streak was driven by the massive exodus of city residents traveling back to their hometowns, leaving their furry family members, not pets alone, they are family, in need of trusted home-based care. Now, this was a wonderful, interesting fact.
Welcome to Real Conservative News Travel segment. Koh Samui, Thailand's second largest island in the Gulf of Thailand, is a premier tropical destination featuring palm-fringed white sandy beaches, lush jungles, and vibrant nightlife. It caters to all budgets, from luxury 5-star villas to beach bungalows, offering a blend of relaxation in areas like Bafa and intense energy in Chong. Chong Beach is known for its bustle and nightlife, while Lamai Beach offers a more relaxed yet lively vibe. For quieter, secluded options, visitors head to Mainam or Chong Monday.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.